2026 has already given us some incredible watches. Rolex made headlines. Cartier revived a legend, and a Lange Söhne reminded everyone why it's one of the greatest watchmakers on earth. But surprisingly, none of those watches earned my #1 spot. Instead, that position goes to a watch that quietly achieves something most brands aren't even attempting anymore: genuine innovation. Today, we're counting down the 8 best new watch releases of 2026 so far. And if you think you already know what's coming at #1, think again. Let's get started. Number 8, Rolex Daytona 126502, Rolesium. Whenever Rolex releases a new Daytona, the entire watch world pays attention. And while the Daytona 126502 doesn't reinvent the formula, it demonstrates something Rolex has mastered better than almost any brand on earth: refinement. This model combines Oyster steel and platinum, a combination Rolex refers to as Rolesium. At first glance, it may look familiar, but the details tell a different story. The case retains the iconic Daytona silhouette that collectors have loved for decades, while the platinum elements add a level of luxury that elevates the watch beyond a standard steel sports chronograph. One of the standout features is the Grand Feu enamel dial. Unlike conventional painted dials, Grand Feu enamel requires repeated firings at extremely high temperatures. It's an old-world technique that few manufacturers still use because of how difficult and expensive it is to execute properly. The result is a dial with extraordinary depth, richness, and longevity. Powering the watch is Rolex's latest generation chronograph movement, delivering exceptional accuracy, reliability, and efficiency. What makes the Daytona 126502 special isn't radical innovation. It's the fact that Rolex continues to perfect one of the most iconic chronographs ever created without losing what made it legendary in the first place. For collectors, that's exactly what they want from a Daytona. Number 7, Piaget Polo Signature. Integrated bracelet sports watches have become one of the most competitive categories in modern watchmaking. Yet somehow Piaget managed to create something that still feels distinctive. The Polo Signature isn't trying to be louder than the competition, it's trying to be better. The case and bracelet flow seamlessly into one another, creating an elegant profile that feels incredibly refined on the wrist. Every surface has been carefully finished, alternating between polished and brushed textures that constantly play with light. The dial is equally impressive. Rather than relying on excessive complications or flashy design tricks, Piaget focused on proportion, balance, and detail. The result is a watch that feels sophisticated from every angle. What makes the Polo Signature stand out in 2026 is its restraint. At a time when many brands are chasing attention, Piaget chose to focus on elegance. And sometimes, that's the hardest thing to achieve. Number 6, IWC Big Pilot Perpetual Calendar Ceralume. The Big Pilot has always been one of the most recognizable watches in the industry. But in 2026, IWC decided to do something extraordinary. The Big Pilot Perpetual Calendar Ceralume combines one of the brand's most iconic complications with one of its most innovative materials. By day, the watch is impressive. By night, it's unforgettable. The Ceralume technology allows the case and dial to emit an intense glow, unlike almost anything else in high-end watchmaking. It's not just the hands and markers glowing. Large portions of the watch itself illuminate in darkness, creating an almost futuristic appearance. But beneath the visual spectacle lies serious watchmaking. The perpetual calendar automatically accounts for varying month lengths and leap years, requiring virtually no adjustment for decades. This combination of advanced materials and traditional complications is what makes the watch so compelling. Many brands excel at engineering. Others excel at heritage. Very few manage to combine both in a single package. IWC has done exactly that. Number 5, Cartier Roadster. For years, collectors wondered if Cartier would ever bring the Roadster back. In 2026, they finally got their answer. And it was worth the wait. The Roadster occupies a unique place within Cartier's history. Unlike the Tank or Santos, it embraced a more dynamic and sporty personality while still retaining the elegance that defines the brand. The new Roadster modernizes the formula without losing its identity. The case proportions have been refined. The finishing is sharper. The overall execution feels more premium and contemporary. Most importantly, Cartier resisted the temptation to redesign the watch completely. Instead, they improved what already worked. The Roman numerals remain. The distinctive case shape remains. And the unmistakable Cartier character remains. In a market filled with look-alike luxury sports watches, the Roadster stands apart. That's precisely why collectors were so excited to see it return. Number 4, Rolex Oyster Perpetual 41. Oyster 100 Edition. When most people think of Rolex, they think of the Submariner, the Daytona, or the Datejust. But none of those watches would exist without the Oyster. Introduced in 1926, the Oyster was the world's first waterproof wristwatch case, a breakthrough that helped shape modern watchmaking. To celebrate its 100th anniversary in 2026, Rolex released the Oyster Perpetual 41 Oyster 100 Edition. At first glance, it may seem simple. There's no chronograph, no GMT, and no complicated mechanics, but that's exactly what makes it special. The Oyster Perpetual 41 represents Rolex in its purest form: a clean dial, a robust Oyster steel case, and the legendary Oyster bracelet combined to create one of the most versatile watches Rolex has ever produced. What makes this watch worthy of our list isn't innovation, it's legacy. For a century, the Oyster case has been the foundation of Rolex's success, proving itself everywhere from mountain expeditions to professional sports. The Oyster Perpetual 41 celebrates that history while reminding us that sometimes the most important watches aren't the most complicated. They're the ones that stand the test of time, and few watches have done that better than the Oyster. Number 3, Tudor Black Bay Chrono 39. For years, collectors had one request for Tudor: make the Black Bay Chrono smaller. In 2026, Tudor finally listened. The Black Bay Chrono 39 delivers everything enthusiasts loved about previous models while dramatically improving wearability. The reduced case size makes the watch more comfortable, more balanced, and more versatile for a wider range of wrists. And surprisingly, that seemingly small adjustment changes the entire experience. The watch feels tighter, more refined, more focused. Importantly, Tudor didn't sacrifice the character that made the Black Bay Chrono successful. The vintage-inspired design remains intact. The chronograph functionality remains intact. The sporty personality remains intact. This is exactly how an update should be done, not by changing everything, but by improving the things that matter most. Number 2, a Lange Söhne. Lange 1 Tourbillon Perpetual Calendar Lumen. If watchmaking is art, this is a masterpiece. The Lange 1 Tourbillon. Perpetual Calendar Lumen combines some of the most challenging complications in horology into a single watch. A tourbillon, a perpetual calendar, a moon phase display, and the iconic Lange outsize date. That alone would be impressive. But then Lange adds the Lumen concept. The partially transparent dial reveals layers of mechanical complexity normally hidden from view. In daylight, it showcases the engineering beneath the surface. In darkness, luminous displays transform the watch entirely. Compared to previous Lumen releases, this watch pushes the concept further than ever before. More complexity, more functionality, more visual drama, and yet despite everything happening on the dial, it never feels cluttered. It remains elegant, balanced, and unmistakably Lange. Many people expected this watch to take the #1 spot, and honestly, it would have been difficult to argue against it. But one watch managed to surprise the entire industry. Number 1, Parmigiani Tonda PF. Chronographe Mystérieux. This is the watch that earned my #1 position, not because it's the most expensive, not because it's the most complicated, and not because it comes from the most famous brand. It earned this position because it did something increasingly rare in modern watchmaking. It introduced genuine innovation. At first glance, the watch appears remarkably clean. In fact, many people won't even realize it's a chronograph. That's because Parmigiani developed a unique system that allows the chronograph indications to remain visually hidden until they're needed. Think about that for a moment. One of the most useful complications in watchmaking is present, yet almost invisible. The result is a watch that preserves elegance without sacrificing functionality. Achieving that required significant engineering effort. This isn't simply a new dial color or a limited edition, it's a fundamentally different approach to chronograph design. And that's exactly why it deserves recognition. In an industry increasingly focused on safe updates and incremental changes, Parmigiani took a risk. They challenged convention, and they succeeded. That's why the Tonda PF Chronographe Mystérieux isn't just one of the best watches of 2026. It's my #1 watch release of the year so far. But that's just my ranking. Which watch would take your #1 spot? Would you choose Rolex's Oyster 100 collection, Cartier's revived Roadster, Lange's breathtaking Lumen masterpiece, or Parmigiani's innovative chronograph? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this countdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next deep dive into the world of watchmaking. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.